Good morning, everyone. Today is the 17th day of Iyar. We're going to begin by counting Sfiras HaOmer. Last night we counted 32, page 138. Cover, let's say together. For Sfiras HaOmer, last night was 32. Hayoim, Shnayim, Ushloishim, Yoim, Shehem, Arba'a, Shavuos, Arba'a, Yomim, LaOmer. Today is 32 days, which is 4 weeks and 4 days of the Omer. Okay, today's Thursday. Tonight is special day of Lag BaOmer. We can still say that at this point. And then we have to be careful in the afternoon not to say that, not to say Lag BaOmer, because then we'll be counting before we say the bracha. We shouldn't do that. But anyways, let's jump into the Tanya. Today is the 17th day of the Iyar, and we're on page 91 in the Chayenu. In today's lesson, we continue in chapter 48, that God's intimate knowledge of our earth is what powers its very existence. Think about it. Hashem doesn't have to build and focus on anything. All he has to do is think about every living thing, even not living thing. Every rock has to exist. With that knowledge, which is one with the Eibusher, to be internal and not circular or abstract, we could not survive. So therefore, we say that Hashem is everywhere, especially even in a concealed way. Obviously, we don't see the Eibusher. We don't know what he's thinking, but that's what gives every creation its vitality, its life. L'mashal kador haaretz alazu harei yidiyase yisbarich markefes kol oivi. Kador haaretz v'chol asher b'soichai v'soich soichai ad tachtisai hakel b'peil mamish. For example, in the case of the orb of this earth, let's call it the globe, the ball, whatever you want to call it. His knowledge encompasses the entire diameter of this globe of the earth, together with all that is in it, and its deepest interior to its lowest depths, all in actual reality. When we think of something, it's an idea. We have to bring it into reality. We have to bring it about, or we have to say it. Oh, I have such a good idea. Okay, so tell somebody in order for it to start coming into actuality. The Eibusher, on the other hand, all he does is think. He doesn't even have to think. The knowledge is the energy. I'm not sure if I can get that myself. You guys get it? So the whole earth was originally created and continues to be created, something from nothing, as a result of Hashem's knowledge of it. Hashem just thought of the world and all the different aspects, boom. We have Lag BaOmer coming up. There's so many different details to think about, from the food to the people that are coming and the band and the Friday night dinner and all the different details. And you have to put it into action. David, all he did was think about it, and it happened. However, it would not have come into being as it is now. What is it now? Everything is limited with a tiny, minute degree of energy from Hashem. Were it not for this contraction of God's light, that is enclosed and hidden in this world, to give it life and energy, but in a finite way, in a limited way. In the categories of inorganic or vegetable matter alone. Thus, the minute degree of illumination, this tiny degree of illumination that Hashem gives, is hidden within this world. Hashem's knowledge, however, as we're going to be explaining, encircles the earth from above. For since his knowledge, this is all, don't forget, Chavra, this is all words that we're using in order to have a relationship to be able to understand it somewhat. But really, this is God doesn't have knowledge. He doesn't have a brain. He doesn't have a mouth. He doesn't have eyes. This is just in order for us to try to understand. God's knowledge is united with his essence and being. Okay, this is a strong statement here. Hashem is the knowledge, the knower, and the known. Try to think about that. Try to understand that. Try to wrap your head around that. It's been previously explained in chapter 2 that Hashem's knowledge and intellect are totally different than ours. Completely different. There's no descriptive terms to describe God's knowledge. Jeff, let me see that when you're done, okay? When a mortal being knows something, three things are involved. A, the knower, the person who is possessing the knowledge. And then B, the knowledge itself, the intellectual faculty which enables him to know. And C, the known, the particular item of knowledge which he now knows. With Hashem, however, he is the knowledge, he is the knower, and he's the known all at once. Hashem that knows, and the vehicle through which he understands, and that which he knows are all God. Thus his knowledge is wholly united, wholly identified with his essence. Do you get that? There's only so much we can get about that. It's a little, it's pushing the limit here of our intellectual capacity. So God, all he has to do to know everything in this universe is to know himself. There's no knowledge that's external from Hashem. He doesn't have to sit down and think, okay, what do I not know now? All I have to do is think about it and understand it, and then there is nothing outside of God. So he doesn't have to do that. So we have to get to know something. Hashem is everything. He doesn't have to get to know it. He is it. All of the created beings are derived from Hashem's true reality. So God's true reality in existence is the source of all created beings. So Hashem, all he has to do is know himself, which of course he does from the beginning. This is an important piece here, guys. This thing is not within the power of human beings to comprehend. Clearly. All right, there's a little footnote here that the Rambam says, and the scholars of Kabbalah agree with him on this. Everyone agrees. That this whole concept of contraction and God being the knowledge and the knower and everything else is true, but completely beyond our reach. So let's continue. Let's learn something that we know we have no possibility of understanding. That's what Tanya is telling us. But we know that we're discussing the Eibishter, which is way beyond our abilities to understand. So that's okay. But still, it enables us, just by learning it a little bit, to have that relationship with the Eibishter, all the while knowing that there's no way to understand him. That's okay. So this knowledge, since it's of infinite order, is not described as clothing itself in the orb, the globe of the world, which is finite and limited, while Hashem's knowledge is limitless. But we describe it as encircling and encompassing the world. Okay. Even though this knowledge embraces its entire thickness and interior in actual reality, I don't know if I love that translation, but okay. Unlike the knowledge of a human being, which encompasses only the image or the concept of an object and not its reality, Hashem's knowledge embraces the object in actual reality. And then he takes it from nothing into something. Now it's something. We can't do that. We have to take physical matter and turn it into something else, whether it's a transaction with money or whether we take wood and we repurpose it and build it into something. But Hashem just thinks it and it comes about. So creation does not come about from the glimmer of godliness found within the object, which sustains it only at the inanimate and the vegetative level, but from the supernal knowledge that encompasses it and encircles it. So although this knowledge is responsible for the object's existence, it is still described as encompassing. So it's not really encompassing if it brought it into existence, and it doesn't leave it, because if it left it, it wouldn't exist anymore. But we describe it as encompassing. Soivev. For inasmuch as the knowledge is infinite, while the created beings is finite, this knowledge is unable, so to speak, to clothe itself within the created being. Otherwise, it would be too powerful light. The light would be too powerful. Commissioner Spoiled, as we've been trying to explain. I added that in my own piece here. It says it's been explained elsewhere. So therefore, we call it the encompassing light. Whew. Guys, this is a heavy chapter. Allow it to encompass you. Allow it to surround you. Maybe even to enter into your mind and your heart a little bit, just like the little ray of Hashem gives the energy to every living being. The takeaway for today is that Hashem's encompassing energy is the energy of each and every element of creation. All of God's needs, all he needs to do, not God's needs, all Hashem needs to do is know himself, which he already does from the get-go. There's no thing that he has to start thinking about in order to know. He is the knowledge. And he thus knows what is taking place in this world and in every nook and cranny, and even in your mind. So think holy thoughts and speak holy words and do holy actions, as the Parsha tells us, speaking to the Kohanim, but really to each and every one of us, as the Kohanim represent us in the holy service. But we all have to be holy, and that starts with our thoughts and is transmitted through our speech and our actions. Go do a mitzvah. Have a wonderful day.